Hey guys, and welcome to a Robocraft update video. Yeah, it's a little bit late because the update is due out a little bit later on today. It's due out on the 16th of June 2016. It probably already is the 16th of June 2016. Been rather busy, but I'm here, I'm back. We're going to do this quickly. Got some gameplay in the background of my latest Tesla bot. As with all my bots that you see in the videos, they will be on the shop, so go and have a look. Yeah, enjoy the gameplay, guys. I'm going to read through all of these patch notes, ready for the update later on, and give you my feedback on them if you like. So yeah, let's just get on with it, guys. So, smart weapons and ion destabilizer update. Smart weapons were voted top by over 14,000 players in the community quality of life poll, so we got right to work and added them for this update. Only weapons that can see your target will fire. This will prevent you wasting power on weapons that shoot parts of your own robot. This will also ensure that as long as one of your weapons can see the target, that will be the weapon that will fire. So, no more occasions where your rail doesn't fire at that critical moment, or your side-mounted ion distorters fire from the left side of the robot when the enemy is on your right-hand side. If you have many weapons that cannot see your target, you will get reduced fire rate and therefore reduced DPS, so building robots well still matters. If you have no weapons that can see the targets, they will still fire, but you will miss your target. If you want full details on how the system works, I will be reading those in a bit, guys, because they're a bit further down the list. So that sounds pretty good. So, smart weapons. Wow, brilliant. About time, because the amount of times I've missed shots because I've shot myself. New weapon, the ion destabilizer. The ion destabilizer is a mini version of the ion distorter. It is an epic rarity weapon. It is mounted to a single full-sized cube like the Proto-Seeker, so has 5 connection points. Where the ion distorter fires 19 projectiles in a single shot, the destabilizer fires 11 with the same spread. Its CPU cost is 145 versus the distorters, which is 245. So it's going to be a smaller weapon size, hopefully. It's got 5 connection points still, which is good, and it costs 100 less. So is it worth the 100 less? We're going to have to wait and see. I'm definitely going to get hold of a couple and build something and see what they're like. Why not, guys? Why not? Garage changes. Now this is the big one. We can now have up to 100 free garage bays, which is absolutely fantastic, which means I can do some building. Which means some building videos going to come up, guys. I just feel like doing some building now, and that's what we're going to concentrate on a bit. They've changed the garage widget to incorporate naming your robot and dismantling your robot on the thumbnail widget itself, which frees up a lot of screen space. So the little picture down the bottom is going to hold a lot more information, so that the main screen is going to be more cleaner and crisper looking. They've added controls so that we can reorder our garage bays. About time. We have added a setting, which is a cog icon, to each garage bay, which allows you to set the control scheme per robot, i.e. between camera control steering and keyboard controls steering. Now, those garage changes, they sound absolutely brilliant, which means if you've got a mech and you don't want it to use strafe, for example, you don't have to use strafe. You can have strafe or camera controls set up on independent robots, which is really cool. Strafing hovers and thrusters. Camera control steering now works with both hover blades and thrusters, so your hovers can strafe or strafe or whatever you want to call it. It is also possible to create strafing copters, rocket sleds and drones if you know how. Now that sounds really cool, because a helicopter is supposed to move sideways. You're supposed to be able to actually make it so it can move sideways. So that's going to be something to try and get to be, you know, if we can get it working, that's going to be a challenge. An important note though, because thrusters can now be steered with the camera in the camera controls steering scheme, Some newer users who joined after the last update may notice copters and airplanes flying strangely. To fix this, simply set that garage-based control scheme to the old keyboard controls steering and it will work as it did before. Although it is possible to create copters that strafe using the thrusters to steer if you build it correctly, copters do not yet fully support the camera control steering control scheme. That development is starting straight away and we hope to launch it with a future update soon. So what they're saying there, guys, is although thrusters can be controlled with the mouse steering, rotor blades have not had that implemented yet. So if you could build it correctly, you will get the desired effect, but it's not going to be easy, basically. We will eventually support the camera controls steering scheme on all movement types. If you're curious as to how this would work with wheels, tanks or airplanes, then think Halo 5. Remember, this is always totally optional and down to your personal preference. They've made some UI and UX changes, guys. They've made a few usability changes to the user interface designed to help new users learn Robocraft a little better and to improve the look and feel of Robocraft. Edit Robot now feels like a game mode, so the game feels more like a traditional game with a main menu where you have a mouse and then a bunch of game modes where you are in first person controls. Now it sounds a bit weird, so I'm going to wait until I see that before I cast judgment on that. The Edit Robot, Play Game and Select Robot buttons have been merged into one single button that simply says Play. Clicking on Play brings up a simple menu with options in the order of your typical game flow, i.e. edit your robot, then test it, then single player, etc. We've also improved this menu visually. You'll now see a very short splash screen when you transition into and out of edit mode, making it consistent with all other game modes and helping to emphasise the transition from mouse cursor UI to FPS controls. So that's something that I'm going to wait and see how they've implemented that into the game to see how it works, see if it's something that I like or maybe I don't. you guys know me now. Yeah, sometimes I'm a bit salty with this game, but I can't put it down. I love this game so much. It just annoys the hell out of me. I love it so much I hate it. I hate to love it, if that's the thing. Yo, I love to hate it. Yeah. Edit mode changes. Edit mode looks and feels a little different now too. We've removed the mouse clickable buttons on the top of the edit mode, so no more hold control to get mouse control. All shortcuts in edit mode still work as before, so you can still speedily get around the game if you are already adept to it. So that's left control they're on about, guys. You used to be able to hold that and move around the screen, or if you knew all the shortcuts you could do it that way. Basically they've taken out the mouse and you use shortcuts now. They've also added two small hints for Q and T to help new users get into the game. Note, we have a full tutorial in development, so these changes are in place of a tutorial. They are just a simple thing we can do to help new users learn the game whilst we're developing the full tutorial. We've added a new, larger, cooler looking CPU bar at the bottom of the screen. The new bar shows you how much CPU you have used and how much placing the next cube will use, showing it as red if the next cube will take you over your maximum CPU. We have added build error feedback in the form of a small animated pop-up that informs you why you cannot place a block, i.e. if it's overlapping, or if you're at max CPU, or if the mirrored version is overlapping, etc. New music has been added to the main menu, select robot mode. Those changes sound really cool, apart from the last one. I like the music. I have the music, I have it downloaded, so I might just have to reinsert it whenever I'm in the garage on videos, depending on what the new music's like. So look out for that, guys, if the menu music suddenly changes. Haha. Other changes. They have changed control. Left control is now down as opposed to shift. This is to mimic crouch in most FPS games, where in most FPS games shift is run. We'll probably support run on shift in edit mode soon too. Now, this is going to be a difficult one for me to try and learn. I may end up rebinding it back to shift because I've played this game for over a year and I have my left finger, my little left finger is trained so much to press the shift button and not control that I will probably end up miskeying a lot. So yeah, I'll see how that goes. Tesla blade there. Start again. Tesla blade's damage reduced slightly as follows. Small Tesla has no change, it's still 45,000 damage. Middle Tesla by 7%, so it has gone down from 67,500 to 63,000. The big Tesla has gone down by 15%, so 101,250 to 88,200. They have refined the boundaries of the Team Deathmatch Earth map to prevent players from climbing up to locations they weren't supposed to reach. The respawn invulnerability duration, super heal after spawn, I'm just going to say that, has been decreased in all game modes except Team Deathmatch. It's 15 seconds in TDM and 3 seconds in the pit and battle arena, including League Arena. Heal power was increased to help ensure super heal after respawn. We've added special effect and audio feedback to help you to see when a player is invulnerable after respawn, so you don't waste power trying to kill them during this time. So basically guys, when they're in super heal mode you'll get a special noise. Reduce the delay when rare items drop in crates to speed up crate animations and help emphasize when epic and legendary drop more. Note, we plan to allow you to speed up these animations and open crates when you like in future. We just haven't got that stuff done yet, which is a bit of a shame because the whole forums have been asking for a skip opening button since the update of the crates, so it should have been something on the top of your list, but never mind, we'll wait for it. Good news for Turkey and Denmark though, you have your own holo flags now in the game. So lastly guys, on to the smart weapons, just to explain a little bit more of how they work. Each weapon will test using a raycast to see if it can see the target based on its current facing direction. If there is a part of your own robot in the way, or if that weapon cannot reach the angle desired, then it fails its test and it is skipped and the next weapon performs the same test. This will all happen in a single frame in a round robin style until we find a weapon that passes the tests and that weapon then fires. In order to ensure that building still matters, i.e. good weapon placement, each weapon that fails the test and is skipped applies a penalty to the cooldown of the next weapon that fires, and this penalty can accumulate over several shots. So, the result is that the overall fire rate will drop the more weapons you have that cannot see the target. In some cases, compromising a little DPS through lower fire rate for more build options will be okay. For example, an ion distorter or laser leviathan mounted sideways on each side might be a more viable option now, and putting a couple of SMGs on the underside of your hover for extra redundancy won't penalise your anti-air fire rate too much. But putting 5 laser wasps on each side of a large cube-shaped robot would reduce the DPS too much to be viable or sensible. So I could get exactly what they're meaning there guys. That basically entails you have 10 laser wasps, 5 can see your target, 5 cannot. You have half of your DPS. So although weapon will not fire if it cannot see the target, you need to also remember about DPS. What you will notice with this system is that top mount lasers placed directly on the front, as opposed to front mount lasers, have a small fire rate loss when you pass your aim from left to right as they cross their apex. The top mount lasers have to rotate a full 180 degrees to get from one side to the other, which takes time. So, does this make the front mounts more viable? Well, it could, because as they've rightly said, the top mount lasers, if you mount them directly on the front, although they can shoot in pretty much all directions, they do have a point at the top of their apex where they cannot actually fire. So front mounts are viable for that reason, but whether they will make it onto builds and be viable in the future, who knows. You guys have got to build and find out. Come on, let's do it. The reason they did this in this way, as opposed to simply testing all weapons in every frame, determining the number that can see the target and then applying an appropriate fire rate, was to maintain a faster frame rate for lower end PCs, so we get the same overall effect but with a less performance hit. So guys, there's also a load of bug fixes, but I won't bore you anymore by reading through those. I will drop the link for all of this down in the description below. I hope you have enjoyed the gameplay in the background. If you have, if you can click the like button for us, because it helps out the channel immensely. That's how YouTube analytics works. The more likes a video has, the more publicity, the more YouTube looks at it and tries to put it into other places. So click that like button, guys. If you've got any comments, questions, suggestions or messages, drop them down below and I will do my best to get back to you. I do read all of them and I always look forward to reading your messages. But anyway guys, until this update hits, I bid you farewell and I'll see you later.